strong grip for an old woman. She threw me backwards to the ground. Hey, she does look like Betty White, I thought to myself. I got up and I moved back towards the pinball machine to keep playing. She pushed me backwards and I fell down again. Once more I got up and I tried to get back to my game of pinball, you know. This time, Betty White grabbed my face and she smashed it into the pinball machine. With the glass top broken, I shoved my hands in the machine, ignoring all the glass shards, earning more cuts and bleeding over the machine's insides. I frantically began manipulating all the little devices in the game to get more points. All the while, the old lady was trying to get me away from my glorious game of unexplicably excellent pinball. She picked me up by the feet. I continued to push buttons and flip switches. The pinball machine now sounded like a robot having an orgasm, and I was the bloody fool eating it out while I had its robot period. She tugged even harder. I found a spot where if I drug a pinball over it, I got 1,000 points. Get ready to come, robot, I thought to myself. Betty White tugged even harder, and I lost my grip with one hand and scored 9,000 points with the other. I sneezed blood on the machine, and I scored another 18,000 points. Betty was pulling as hard as she could now. The machine rocked back and forth like a minivan trying to contain a sumo wrestler orgy. I slid off of the machine and I left a trail of blood as she dragged me away backwards. Kicking and screaming, I stared at the pinball machine lovingly. I had scored 7,800,000 points before the old bat got the best of me. And I swear to God, I saw the pinball machine smoking a fucking cigarette as I was drugged the fuck away from it. And mirrors. It looked like somewhere a kinky old German couple might go for some Uber screw action. And then she explained a few things to me while I sat. It just so happens that Betty White is having a technical difficulty. This doesn't, there we go. She took me to a room full of cuckoo clocks and mirrors. It looked like somewhere a kinky old German couple might go for some Uber screw action. There she explained a few things to me while I sat. Betty White is actually Susan Saratoga, and she built the world's most addictive pinball machine. She had to hide it away from the world the same way you hide drugs from a recovering drug addict. And no wonder you live out here in the middle of nowhere on March. Your pinball machine is safe here. It won't be safe until you leave, boy. You've had a taste and now you must flee before it takes over your life as well, came Susan's reply. I denied having any desire to play that machine. But deep down, I knew I would have to play it once more before I died. Not anytime soon, though. Just remember where she lives. I'll come back years from now. Whatever business it is you have that brings you all the way here, that's what you need to return to, son. Run far away from this house. What exactly is it that you were doing anyway? People don't just show up in this part of the world for no reason, Susan asked. I thought about her question. I couldn't remember. Somewhere between Phil sucking the lasses off of my head and being beaten up by an old woman over an arcade game, something had to have happened to my brain. Maybe Phil sucked on my head too hard. Maybe Susan Saratoga struck the exact wrong spot. I also had a few memories that I wasn't even sure And then I remembered that I have an electronic organizer in my pockets. Eureka! My electronic organizer! I thought all I had to do was turn it on, read the contents, and I'd be back on track. I clicked the power button. Nothing is dead, I said, sounding dejected and ashamed. I knew how hard it would be to find a charger out here, especially a new one that was reasonably priced. Well, you certainly can't stay here, Susan said. You had too much pinball. One game is too much. She rushed me out the door, closed and locked it behind me as if I couldn't get back into the gigantic fucking hole I made when I first showed up. I stood there in the cold, wondering if anything what I was supposed to be doing. I had two things on my mind to search for. A charger for my electronic organizer, or the group of people who abandoned me in the tundra with the walrus-looking molasses off my head tray. So I began to walk north. I think I wasn't sure what I was setting out to do or why I chose north. I just needed to take action, so I did. I walked, and even did a little bit of jogging. I traveled on foot for hundreds of miles on end. I walked through the snow and into warmer weather. I walked over hills and bridges, by roads, and even through tunnels without ever seeing one single person. I began to wonder what happened to the rest of civilization that I believed that I was a part of. I was lonely. 23 minutes before I was about to give up hope, I was staring into the sun as I walked, and I ran into a sign, and you know what it said? It said Laddersville, 81 miles, population pending, census takers, use EC please.
Hey,